LaMelo Ball fans everywhere deserve a lot of credit because they have fully embraced Steve Clifford as the head coach of the Charlotte Hornets. Obviously, when he was hired, it was a lot of hoopla, due to the fact of the circumstance of the situation. It wasn't like he was the first pick and it was a done deal and it was business as usual. It was a lot of issues, dealing with this situation. Number one, you had a situation with, the Kenny Atkinson hire. It was just a mess. Obviously firing Borrego, looking for a coach. It came down to D'Antoni and Atkinson. They brought in Atkinson a few days into the job. He rescinds the offer, and decides that he's staying with the Golden State Warriors. Okay, no shame in your game, but you definitely set the Charlotte Hornets, into a frenzy, in off season when you make a move, such a knee-jerk reaction move like that, that not only affects yourself, but it affects the Charlotte Hornets. Thank God they was able to pivot the situation and truly make the best out of it, because things could have truly went problematic for the Charlotte Hornets in that effort. They didn't go back to D'Antoni. They brought in Clifford. When Clifford was hired, people was a little. It was because they seen Clifford. He was a former coach. It wasn't like he was a new guy with a fresh mindset. He previously coached for the Charlotte Hornets before. Never in any case I've seen something like this happen, where a head coach will come back and return. I mean, you got to be somebody like Phil Jackson or something, so for Steve Clifford to get that honor to come back, obviously, he moved some people in that organization to fully entrust him like that. It is what it is at the end of the day. Steve Clifford has everybody's best. To be honest with you, we all want Steve Clifford to put his best foot forward, because he hasn't done anything wrong yet. So there's no reason for anybody to ridicule him, to chastise him. Let this man get in here and do his job. Coach Lamelo Ball develop these young players and build a winner from the Charlotte Hornets. He's coming from, the Orlando Magic, where, things were whatever it was. He got to the postseason. He has some good young talent, but he never possessed a player like Lamelo Ball. Because when you start to think about it and fully, thoroughly evaluate the situation, you start to see, the Ball brothers in general, not so much Lamelo, but Lamelo has dealt with his fair share issues, but also Lonzo, LiAngelo. It seems to be these head coaches, oftentimes find themselves overcoaching. I think that's something that plagues a lot of these coaches and teams. They overcoach the Ball brothers, and I think that could be a detriment as well. That's not always the recipe for success. I don't know if that could go from my man, what's his guy's name? Luke Walton was probably one of the most famous cases of that, of his overcoaching, which led to him being fired. Overcoaching the guys like Van Gundy, but just in this Hornets situation, this guy Steve Clifford, after obviously the initial, he has everybody's, stamp of approval right now. He just got to make sure he continue to hold his favor, because you could lose favor very quickly with a couple of issues, especially when involving LaMelo Ball, but, it's looking like he wants to assist giving LaMelo Ball the keys, which he should have had the moment he stepped foot on the franchise. Michael Jordan, like I said, he's kind of silent, believe it or not. So But I mean, I think that they brought in this guy to be an adult in the room, the hold down huddles, get this team more serious. And if you see the demeanor in Lamelo Ball, his when you see him at the podium, Lamelo Ball is at that podium and answering questions on these interviews, like the face of a franchise, like the president of a CEO of a company, and that's what Lamelo Ball is doing. And I've been very impressed for a player this young, to show leadership like this. But I'm not surprised, my man Clifford, he just got to be blessed that he's coaching a guy like Lamelo. We got to understand something. Clifford got to reshape his fortunes. You go to what's my man's name, Gordon, Kemba. This guy Lamelo Ball. This is the best player you ever coached. So let's put your best foot forward. Let's have sustainable seasons. You got to make sure the deck is stacked against Clifford this season as well. I know a lot of people may ridicule Cliff, but Clifford is dealing with the Bridges situation. He walking into the mess that Borrego was dealing with. He's trying to iron all this out. Mind you, losing Miles Bridges, who was potentially your number 2 option, your 1B to your 1A. You just lost 20-something points per game. This guy got taken out the lineup. A guy, a potential double-double guy. Some people view Bridges as an all-star. So you got to just think from a coaching perspective. Clifford is dealing with that. I know that the Hornets are trying to bury that like it's non-existent. But that's a tremendous talent that's out the picture. That I'm pretty sure that he had plays and things to implement. When he was hired. I'm pretty sure Bridges was a part of the program. Right now he's got to pivot and make the best out of it. And despite all of these issues, there's pressure on him to deliver. They have to get to the play-in at the bare minimum, and they have to advance. Otherwise, this season will be viewed as a failure. But it shouldn't be. We need to cut slack to all of them, but we do know that they have LaMelo, and that shit changed. I just want to give credit to all the LaMelo Ball fans, all the Triple B fans all around the world, because oftentimes, we kind of get, picked on a little bit because we understand what's going on. And usually, we 10 steps ahead. A lot of people were early on, listen, Borrego might not make it. You had Hornets fans coming there, wouldn't he? Borrego, he ain't going nowhere. Like, all right. You see his ass was walked out of there not too long after the season was over. Same thing with Billy Donovan out there in Chicago. Hey, you better when Lonzo we ain't gonna get into that. But bottom line is, Clifford need to learn from the previous coach's mistakes, and that goes all the way back to Alfred out there in Chino Hills. You need to make sure you don't make these errors with dealing with these Ball brothers, and you will be successful. So I'm here. I'm wishing Steve Clifford and the Charlotte Hornets the best of luck. This is going to be a tremendous season, man. Buzz City, man. Shout out to everybody rocking with them Buzz boys. Salute to the Hornets. You already know what time it is. Hit that like button and most definitely hit that subscribe button. We're going live tonight. We out.